Good morning and a very warm welcome to It's for Ministry. Now on Thursday mornings at 11. Still looking for a snappier title. Wednesday at noon had a certain ring to it. Thursday at 11? I'm sure there's a better name. Answers on a postcard or in a 21st century version. Pop them in the comments below. Welcome to you all. I have been reading a fascinating book. Well, actually, I haven't. It was fascinating. I wasn't reading it. I was listening to it on Audible. And over the last few weeks and months, been rather enjoying being able to be out and about a bit more, do a lot of driving and commuting here in the West Highlands. I have been listening to a book entitled The Checklist Manifesto. It was written by one Atul Gawande, who is a surgeon. And much of the book is within the context of medicine and the procedures and the importance to do all the right things in the right order. And some absolutely fascinating insights into the improvement in healthcare that checklists can bring. Just a simple process, not leaving anything to memory, and simple things like on the checklist, take 2 minutes with the team to make sure you know all their names and to take a moment to discuss the patient and what you know of their condition. And that alone has contributed to increased statistics, analytics around healthcare. There's much also in the book about aeroplane safety and procedures and the construction business, looking to all the checks and balances that need to be in place, building tall, big structures. Fascinating stories and insights in the book, and through it all, weaving the idea that whatever the discipline, checklists are important, as so much knowledge, so much complexity in the procedures mean that we shouldn't just commit everything to our memories. Of course, we know we need to do this, that, and the next thing. Well, all this thought about checklists came back to bite me on Tuesday. I had a funeral in one of my parishes, and that involved a 20-mile drive. And I had gone over my checklist, and everything that was required was there at the door already for me to pick up as I left. I had my notes prepared for the funeral. I had a book that I would need. I had the music playlist organised, my portable Bluetooth amplifier, one of the ION speakers, highly recommended. All that stuff was all ready to go. And I was going down to Loch Allen early because I had an online meeting and I couldn't stay at the house, do the online meeting and still have time. So I had arranged that I could be somewhere where there was broadband to be on that meeting. So all set, ready to go. The phone rings, I answer the call, slightly preoccupied, grab things at the door and set off on my journey. Halfway round Loch Sunart, I suddenly think to myself, I haven't put that big amplifier speaker in the car. And I stopped and I thought, I need to turn back. I don't have time to turn back. I'm going to miss the meeting. And then I saw in the back seat of the car the big amplifier's little brother, one of the small Bluetooth speakers, and I thought, well, I've got that. It'll probably be sufficient to fill the church. And I switched it on. It was 2/3 charged, and I thought, well, I've got plan B. And then I remembered that at a previous funeral service with the same funeral directors, they had been eyeing up this ION Bluetooth speaker. And I know that he had said he had ordered one. So I phoned the funeral directors. Have you left yet? Have you got your big speaker? Can you bring it down? So that was all in place. It all went fairly well. The funeral director hadn't yet received his new speaker, but he brought his old one, and it was all set up, and it spoke to my phone, and Bluetooth connection was fine. And just before the service began, the funeral director said to me, oh, the speaker, it'll time out if it does nothing for 20 minutes. So at various points during the service, I gave the volume button a wee twiddle. And at the last crucial point, I looked at it, gave it a wee twiddle, and its wee screen was blank, and I wasn't familiar with the machine, and between the glasses and face coverings and everything steaming up, I hadn't a clue how to get this to go. So I was kind of willing the funeral director to notice my distress, and ended up saying, we're about to hear a piece of music and Jamie's going to come and help me with this speaker. It all worked out, but it did cause me to think. I had gone over in my mind my checklist, but I did it at the wrong time. And if I had done that once I was in the car and just taken a wee moment to make sure that everything was in place, I could have saved myself an awful lot of trouble. So I got down, I started up the online meeting, which I was chairing, and I was a moment or two late, and the broadband gave up. Kind of ropey around here. And a wee tangential thought, my phone signal in some places is wonderful. I know we've spoken recently about how sometimes a mobile 4G signal is in fact more than sufficient to run a live stream from a church building or elsewhere. My phone signal at the church nearest me here is quite close to one of the masts, and I get a better speed. I get an upload speed of about 30 megabits a second. So no problem streaming streaming out or streaming in videos at that location. But in some places, the phone signal is incredibly weak. And recently I had picked up a mobile Wi-Fi router with a SIM card for another provider, and that was so useful on Tuesday when that broadband connection went for me. So that's been a really good investment. But I would say, if you're thinking about using a 4G signal, you probably want something a wee bit bigger than this. This is ideal just to pop in a pocket. It's completely mobile, but you maybe want a router that is a bit bigger, has got the antennae and an Ethernet socket, so you can have a wired connection, which you can't do with this. So a mobile Wi-Fi router, this one from Vodafone. So back to checklists, how important they are. And I know that before doing a live stream, I would certainly go over a little list. And in fact, on my desktop, which I can show you there, using sticky notes, which is part of Windows, and I'm sure there's an equivalent on Mac. So a virtual post-it note there reminding me to set up the stream in advance so that Facebook users know that there's going to be a live, and then prepare the content. Check the stream key and that all that is in order. Check where it's being broadcast. I use a number of different channels on YouTube and Facebook. And well, there have been times when things have gone out not causing any problem, but they didn't quite go out where I had anticipated. And of course, the other side to that is that on Facebook, you can cross-post to multiple channels. So our Wednesday evening prayer on the church Facebook page also goes to the presbytery page, the Facebook page for the neighbouring parish, and there's another page that it goes to. So check where you are streaming to. One that I've often been caught out on, make sure that Alexa has been silenced. She has participated in one or two online services and the online quizzes. So, yep, Alexa is definitely sleeping, and I can see the reassuring red ring around her. Similarly, the do not disturb on the phone. My landline, I have it that just one ring. It seems to be the least I can have, and in fact, it went just before I was going live. And these things really are distracting. But make sure that we minimize all these things. It's then time to start the stream, and of course on Facebook you can automate that with selecting the start time, which I always do 5 minutes before we are really beginning. And as you saw at the beginning of this, the 5-minute countdown timer. 5 minutes is a long time for folk to wait, but it gives me, it would give you a good 5 minutes just to do those final checks. It's an opportunity to make sure that the audio is on and that everyone is going to be hearing the music. And the final thing on my checklist says, smile, look at the camera and say, welcome. How important it is that we get a good, clean beginning and, yeah, wing it. Know where you're starting and how you're ending. So that's my wee checklist on sticky notes. I've got checklists on, now let me just let you see another there on my iPad. Is my Saturday night checklist. And I would go over that, post the link to the WordPress AKSM page, and AKSM, my 4 church buildings are at Ardgour, Kingairloch, Stronty and Morvern. So we use AKSM as the web address. Post the link to A&A, that's the neighbouring parishes. Post to the WordPress web. Create the video. Post it to YouTube, create the audio file, MP3 file for the podcast version, and ensure that all the hymns are on the Sunday playlist. At one of my churches, I've got a real live organist, but in other places for a while and a long time pre-COVID, I have been using digital music. So checklists are good. Checklists can be helpful and reassuring, and we don't need to keep everything in our mind. I'm I'm not really a big fan of lists, I have to say. As many of you will know, I'm much more a mind mapper. This little live stream mapped out there using iThoughts, brilliant mind mapping app for iOS. Checklists can save time, which reminds me of this book, How to Save an Hour Every Day, a book by Michael Heppel, someone that I came across about 17 years ago, and then much later, after reading his book, How to Be Brilliant, attended one of his How to Be Brilliant sessions down in Newcastle, where he is based. He talks about being brilliant, about how we, if you go to his website, michaelheppel.com, the first thing you will read is how to cure an average life, and lots of good hints and tips in the whole self-improvement area. I commend Michael Heppel to you, and there are some great online resources. He has a group on Facebook, How to Be Brilliant, and there's about just under 4,000 folk, I think, on the group there. How to Be Brilliant. More recently, the most recent book is a book called 17, and the hardback version has been sold out. I've got a signed copy somewhere, and I get a wee mention in it because I had mentioned some of the significance of 17 in the Bible, and yeah, it's rather nice to get a wee mention in 17. But Michael talks about the importance of 17-minute sprints, and just taking 17 minutes just to focus on a particular task. You can get 3 of them in an hour and still have a wee break. And some really good stuff there. And well, one of the things he says is that people often will create lists, your top 10 of whatever, push it to 17, and then we maybe get to some of the real creativity. How to save an hour a day. Checklists can help us to use our time well. And once we've got a list, if we could automate some of that, so much the better. And on iOS, iPhones and iPads, you will have the app Shortcuts, and it's really a way to program your iPad to be able to do particular things. And let's just have a wee look at this shortcut here that will take a PDF or a web page and then save it to the album called GFX, Graphics. So if you've got a PDF, I think I mentioned this one in a stream a week or so ago, a quick way that you can get a graphic from a PDF. Anything that's a set sequence, putting a checklist into action. Once a month, I email the editor of Jehadol, which is the local newspaper around here. Jehadol is the Gaelic for what's on. And I run this shortcut. When you run the shortcut, this is you seeing behind the scenes as you're setting it up. So it picks up a note from Evernote, which I've keep up to date with what's on around the churches and forthcoming dates, and it creates the text. You can see the larger image there. A wee bit of HTML is permitted within that. You see the BR, which is the code for a line break, And from that text, you can create an email, that second last one there, send the what's then in the variable DTD to Jehidal as and then the subject line that will appear in the email. So shortcuts. Let's just look at one other there, where you can set up a wee menu with some places that you might want to go to frequently, such as the It's for Ministry website. And rather than having to remember ITSFORMINISTRY dot, is it org or is it .org UK? It's .org. But how about if you could run a shortcut, and now you see the menu coming up and you can tap on It's for Ministry web and it should take you to the page. And I need to add to a checklist somewhere, make sure that all the posts have got a nice graphic with them at the top. You see there a post with some harvest music suggestions there. So wherever you are on your iPad, have you all updated to iOS 15, where you can have all these fancy widgets and things? And yes, let's do, yeah, if we go into settings, we can go add to home screen, and you know, this example is called shortcut menu. We can and then go add. Yeah, we've now got the icon that says shortcut menu, and if I tap on that, it will bring up that little menu that we set up that's got It's for Ministry web. It's also got a set 15-minute timer. I do have another one that's set 17 minutes, thanks to the aforementioned 17 with Michael Heppel. So shortcuts is one way to automate some tasks. Another very helpful app, this time iOS based. I'm sure it is on Android as well. Certainly on it is on Android. It is on Android. If this, then that, and basically what you can do is set up a trigger with another action. So you'll see some of these there, a reminder to drink water every hour unless you're asleep. So when it's coming up to the hour, it will trigger a notification, say, have a drink of water, have a wee pause, get away from the desk. Now, one that I particularly want to mention is the one that that says, if new public video uploaded, then create a link post on Morven Ardgour Strontian. And what's happening here, let's have a wee look within this. If we edit, we can edit the applet as they are called. So the trigger is if a new public video is posted on YouTube, then, and what it's doing is then Facebook create a link post, and on Twitter post a tweet, and on WordPress create a post to the church website. So those three individual tasks don't have to be done. They're done automatically. And every time a new video is posted on the church channel, the parameters are set up. It can take a moment or two to get the IFTTT applet set up, but once it's done once, then you start saving hours every day. Well, it will build up. It's worth taking time to invest in those processes. So that's If This Then That. You can, if you don't already use it, you can find it in the App Store. It is definitely available for Android, because I keep coming across interesting things, and it will say Android only, as there will be some that will only work for iOS. But it is also web-based, ifttt.com. There is a free version. The free version allows you to have one trigger triggering one action. The Pro, which will cost a couple of pounds a month, I signed up right at the beginning of the Pro launch, and there were some very good deals around then. But even the one trigger and one action is incredibly useful, even if simply to do something when you are posting a new video online on YouTube. And I'm sure there'll be a trigger as well for, possibly, that's one to check out, if it also is going to work for new Facebook videos being posted. So, shortcuts, If This Then That. There are other automation facilities around. One that I haven't explored but was hearing about recently, Zapier, will again allow you to automate some things on your computer, phone, tablet, whatever. So, shortcuts, they are helpful. Checklists, shortcuts, maybe take a wee bit of time and a wee bit of inner geekiness at the beginning, but once they're done once, then they will repay that time over and over. I hope that's been helpful, interesting. Until next week with some more insights and ideas and thoughts around leadership, change and technology within the context of the church. Take care. Goodbye. Have a good day.